Bitcoin uses more electricities than many countries. How is that possible? Says the New York Times. Once again, the idea of energy is number one. Instead of talking about it, really, I think we should read this tweet from Michael Del Castillo. Michael says, I'm so tired of what feels like either willful ignorance or a concerted effort to make Bitcoin's energy use worse than it is. This is the new Bitcoin is for criminals argument. The energy consumption is bad, but fixable. And mistakes like this feel like a play for clicks. This is after Jeff Roberts tweeted a glaring error in the New York Times. Yes, the New York Times on Bitcoin energy use. The article suggests that every Coinbase transaction must be validated on the Bitcoin network and use energy. Not true, as most Coinbase transactions are cleared internally and have been for like the last 10 years. Here we are again. Bitcoin is bad. It destroys energy. If you use multiplication, it could destroy the entire world. Dan, Eve, your thoughts on Bitcoin and the incredible energy consumption?
Yeah, it's definitely the energy thing's definitely the kind of FUD of the year, right? Or FUD of the last few years. Obviously, energy usage and environmentalism is quite a big thing. Obviously, you've got like Extinction Rebellion at the moment in the UK, like holding up footpaths and bridges and stuff, and really important things like that. So everyone's really taking the environmentalism into their own hands. But it's down to the definition of what your definition of waste is, right? They always say that in this article specifically, they mentioned the New York Times one. They mentioned about the waste, right, in securing the network, but it's not waste because it's securing a network. Just because that hash didn't make it through, it doesn't mean it's a wasted hash. It was still an attempt at securing the network, and it succeeded in assisting to secure the network. Otherwise, if it was too easy, it would use hardly any electricity and the network wouldn't be secure. Aha! No one ever thinks of that when they write these articles, but it's all down to personal preference, isn't it? Right? It's like, it's just because they disagree with something, then you can find any reason you want to disagree, to hate it. It's like if people used to moan about like annual like mobile phone upgrades and stuff, that's a waste to someone, but to other people who need that split second of faster processing time, it's not waste, it's usage. If you have a car instead of a moped, when there's just yourself and you don't really carry stuff about, then you're wasting in having a car instead of a moped. But there's comfort, there's extra thure that you have, and with Bitcoin it's securing the network. But just before I finish, one thing that's quite interesting from just because just looking back on New York Times articles, there's that famous one, or infamous one, from 1903, December 8th, and it said, and I quote, "Man won't fly for a million years." So don't believe everything you read in the New York Times. Mute.
I agree with Dan. I don't think the New York Times understands proof of work mining. I think that they look at that system and they say all the other miners who don't get the block are wasting their time. They don't understand that it's a competition to get that number, and that number is truth, right? It's mathematical truth, and they're competing to get it. Once they achieve that, yes, all the other attempts are thrown out. But it's that competition that keeps the network secure, that keeps the next block timely, that makes this thing a race. So I don't think they understand that. Also, they continue to ignore the Galaxy Digital report that said Bitcoin used like 1/7 of PlayStations and other always on devices. It uses 1/10 of the banking system, and it uses 1/10 of the gold bullion system. So once again, if you're invested in the old system, you need to have a reason to hate Bitcoin. Your old reason was that it's only for drug dealers and criminals. That's not working anymore. You also used to say that you're going to lose all your money. It's going to zero, but instead it went to 50,000 again, right? None of your old excuses are working. You need a new excuse. You've got your trusty friend multiplication. And if you multiply Bitcoin's energy use times 1,000, it's 1,000 times bigger. And that's good enough for the headline, like Michael Del Castillo was saying. Josh Shigala, your thoughts on Bitcoin's incredible energy usage?
Yeah, I mean, if you have a triathlon, it's such a waste of energy. They should just have this one guy, the winner. They should just have the winner running, and you just watch the winner run and then get the prize. Like, there's no point. Why have all these other people competing? It makes no sense. Yeah, look, this is such a tired old conversation with these people, and it literally takes 10 seconds of Googling, because so many people that are serious in this space, like ourselves and many others, are constantly telling the logical and reasoned, evidence-based argument against their FUD, but it's like la 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 la, like a child. And so every time these sorts of articles come out, I kind of, I of course, I think, what a childish nonsense. But the sad thing is when I think, yeah, but all those people that read it and then they parrot it and they just repeat. This is generally the problem with the legacy media, is that they can just say whatever, because they're an authority. People will believe it, and you're sort of stuck with that, and it's unfortunate, but really, people start to take note when they're like, yeah, but so many people I know have made really good money from it. So am I not going to buy it because I believe some nonsense article? And really, the whole PlayStation thing was a real eye opener for many. I mean, I pull that stat out, and people are like, oh wow. I mean, washing machines, certain applications are really important in society. And the thing is, now that we're up against like $1 trillion market cap, you can't just have a small competition to keep this thing secure. You need the best security, because can you imagine these same people shouting about the energy usage? Imagine what they'd be shouting if everyone lost their money because of some 51% attack, because suddenly, I don't know, it wouldn't happen because it's game theoretically impossible. But if it did, they would just be, oh, look at all these poor people lost their money. Oh, yeah, well, that's why you had all this energy usage, you tool. But anyway, that's
well, at least with that, it would be an actual thing where the people have actually lost their money, and the media could complain about it. Bitcoin or whatever coin had crashed or been hacked or whatever, they could say that it would be true. This one, once again, it's kind of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Bitcoin does use a lot of energy. Right now, we're all Bitcoin supporters, so we think it's a good deal. Like, it's a good thing to build an alternative currency system. The current currency system is terrible. If you don't know that, you'd have no reason why that would be a good deal. The same thing going forward. If we switch to Bitcoin, it's just like when we switched to the internet. Some people didn't like it. They weren't ready for it. They wanted to wait. Internet is too confusing. Internet leaves people behind. Internet, make you blind. That monitor you're looking at will make you blind, but it hasn't happened yet. I'm still seeing. So this is the media's new, latest, and greatest FUD. What other FUD do you guys see for the media next? Obviously, I think terrorism is a big one. What else would you choose, Dan? What will the media get excited about Bitcoin next? Maybe Lady Gaga uses it, so it must be bad.
Well, I think it might take a trip back to the censorship lane, right? So if people store or use it to transmit information that can't be censored, like there was that back in 2015, they were saying about the child porn that was on Bitcoin, and that's the references or whatever. So I think something like that could happen. I think obviously the obvious one is terrorism. It's used for terrorism. Like there'll be like the plants in Afghanistan of coal plants have been used, and they're no longer like providing electricity for humans. They're just mining Bitcoin or something like that. It's I wouldn't say obvious, but it's something that probably could quite easily happen. But yeah, I think something like about the censorship, right? Because what seems to be a hot topic now, of course, is that lots of people really like censorship and shutting people down, and the cancel culture that we have is growing, and it's and you know, you're getting armies of, you know, forums of people that are just clubbing together, and every time they see a post from someone they don't like, they'll shut them up by doxing them, putting their details out there, finding out who they work for, getting them fired, you know, all that sort of stuff. And so I think the censorship part might grow to the extent that it gets used for some nefarious things and then gets blown out of proportion.